Welcome to the Introverted Influencer Podcast. I'm your host, Erica Van Slyke. My soul's mission on this planet is to help fellow introverts grow their online influence in a state of feminine flow and ease. While battling the woes of depression, anxiety, and even mom guilt, I've somehow managed to build a six-figure blog without the use of social media and without sacrificing my mental health. If I can do it, you can fucking too. Hello there. Welcome back to episode 42 of the Introverted Influencer Podcast. I am thinking this is probably going to be the last episode of 2022. My kids get out of school for almost a whole month tomorrow, and I'm thinking that's going to be kind of impossible to record with them home. I have two boys, 6 and 8, and they are the epitome of what you think when you hear crazy youthful boys. They fight all the time, they run around, destroy my house, and yeah, I'm going to have to prepare mentally for being a referee for the next month or so. But I just thought I'd get on here. Actually, what happened to y'all, I'm kind of just going to do this on the fly because I was supposed to close out this year with a really special guest. She's a TED Talk speaker, and I was super excited. And so that was going to kind of be the bang, going out with a bang 2022 for the podcast. I was excited about the message we were going to talk to today. And then I get a notification about an hour before we're supposed to go on our Zoom, and she is sick. And I was like, just don't push through it. It's okay. We'll do that in the new year. And maybe that message will just be better received anyhow in January with the new year energy. So I was like, crap, I promised one more. So I'm going to have to come up with something on the fly because I've got an hour to do this. And I'm trying to think about lessons that I have been tested with lately. And given the current climate of our world with just so many unknowns and so many different reasons to be fearful and stressed, the uncertainty of the economy, the uncertainty of our country, if you're here in the U.S., the uncertainty of just the way paradigms are crumbling. I think that it's safe to say the collective as a whole are being tested on some pretty similar themes, I'll say. So with that being said, it's already feeling like scarcity, tones of scarcity, fear, uncertainty can creep in, right? Because that is the collective. And if you're tapping into that energy, or if you're around any of that messaging, you're going to have to overcome that somehow and ground yourself. And so what had happened to me about a week ago, I got all out of balance. Normally my sleep schedule is beautiful. I'm really good about going outside and getting sunshine and meditating for even if it's just 10 minutes a day, getting fresh air and creating an environment for me and a routine for me to where I can stay grounded through all the chaos of what's been thrown at me personally this year. I've been pushed against my edge personally, and also just what I'm picking up on. When you go out to a store, especially right now, because I'm having to do my Christmas shopping, and if you're an empath, you pick up on a bunch of shit. I almost got run over the other day when I was walking out of Walmart. Some asshole almost freaking took me out. And that kind of stuff on top of what you're going through personally, it can kind of compound. And so I'd gotten all out of whack last week. I don't know if it's because there was not, like, I couldn't tell you guys the last time I've seen sunshine. It's been torrential downpour. On top of that, while I am spiritual and while I do care about my health, also, in some ways, I know I came on this earth to have a good time. So around the holidays, I will bake sweets, especially chocolate chip cookies with my kids. I'll indulge in some sweets, and I might drink just a little more wine than I normally do. That's the fun of it, right? The fun of the season. I was actually just telling my husband that I don't love all the consumerism, but I like the permission slip to be a lush and a sugar addict. And then in January, you cut it out. But anyhow, so I wasn't sleeping, and I was waking up in the middle of the night with like near panic attacks. And I couldn't believe I was getting to that point again, because I really thought I had found ways to manage my anxiety. And it had really just been a matter of the past few years. It hasn't been so much anxiety. It's just been, I do have still kind of cyclical ebbs and flows of like low grade depression. And I do, depending on the phase I'm at with my cycle, I can get like hormone related feelings of like blah and lethargy and depression. But the anxiety and the panic attacks, I was like, shit, I'm not going here again, am I? And this leads me to the message that I want to give to end off this year. Be careful about what emotional state you're in when you are making decisions, because last week, when I was not sleeping, I couldn't find a way to like ground myself and regulate my nervous system. It was like one thing hitting me on top of another personally, and then the lack of sunshine, the lack of sleep, it all compounded to where I was about to make a really, really, really stupid business decision, we'll say. It was from a place of fear. I was allowing myself to get swept up in it and kind of lose connection with my higher self and with spirit, and feeling like, okay, the spiritual stuff, it doesn't work anymore. It's not working for me. It's time for me to grab the bull by the horns and make decisions, because it felt just high stakes at that time. Like I had to do it then and there. But luckily, I was able to pull myself out of it this weekend. We had maybe like 1 hour of sunshine, so I got some sunshine. That helped. I was sure to not skip a workout this week. That helped tremendously. Just sweating it out and moving my body and realizing like, okay, I'm in control here. I'm not going to be swept up by this fear and by the collective fear of what's going on right now. And that made me think, oh my God, I'm so glad I didn't make a decision from the place of fear. I tapped back into the higher self instead of, we'll call her the negative Nancy, because we all have a negative Nancy in us. No matter how long we've worked on the spiritual stuff, the self-development stuff, the manifestation stuff, there's still a negative Nancy that dwells in all of us. And so you have to be careful to not take that bitch's opinion over your inner knowing, your higher knowing, God's knowing? Are you making some matter more dire than it really is just because maybe you're tired of the unknown and you're just ready to, the control freak in you, the negative Nancy in you is just ready to not be in that state of unknown. And so you're just ready to just know whether it's good or bad, whether it's desired, undesired, you're just ready to know how it's all going to turn out. Be careful. Don't listen to the bitch that's anxious because she's hungover, the bitch that is overwhelmed because she didn't get enough sleep, the bitch that hates herself because she's just PMSing. You really got to ask yourself, where are these thoughts coming from? Are they higher self thoughts, Christ consciousness thoughts, or are they negative Nancy thoughts? And I think this message is just, I think it's good timing. I'm glad I'm kind of riffing on it right now because let's face it, most of us will overindulge. We're going to do something that's going to spike our anxiety right now. Whether that be all of the spending and you don't like where your bank account's getting, but you feel like you've got to give gifts. And so you already have this fear about the economy, the stock market, and then you've done holiday shopping and your bank account's getting low and you're like, oh my God, feeling all the scarcity. Whether it be from that you're kind of pushing up against that edge, whether it just be that the weather is really shitty right now and you're drinking more than you normally do, or you're having more sugar than you normally do, so your anxiety is higher than it typically is. Don't beat yourself up for getting into those states. Especially, it's so easy to do that when you've been doing the work for years. And when you've been meditating and praying and journaling and going to therapy and you think you're so evolved, you're still going to be faced with this because this is part of being human. So once again, enjoy yourself. Realize it is what it is, but don't get stuck there and don't make major decisions from that place. Be careful about the emotional state you are in when you decide to make major decisions. And I think I'm just going to leave it at that because I'm not really feeling prepared today or on. But before I close out this little mini on the fly episode, I just want to freaking thank you from the bottom of my heart for sticking with me this year through it all. You have been the bright part of my challenging year. And you've made it all worth it. And you don't know how much you brighten my day with your messages, with your screenshots. I've gotten some tips from you. Wow. Thank you so much. I can tell if you're listening, you have a beautiful soul and beautiful things, a beautiful life is waiting for you. It is. It's just, I have so much good energy from my listeners. So thank you so much and enjoy this season as much as you can. Give yourself grace. Please try to take a step back from the frenzy and what seems like dire situations, perhaps. And just ask yourself, does this need to be resolved like within 24 hours? Can I sit back and kind of marinate on it and get myself into a better place before I decide what needs to happen? And so I think that is what I have been coming against lately. But the bright side of this too, what I've heard from a lot of the spiritual teachers I've followed is that a lot of times when you're hit against your edge, that is when what you have been calling in your life, whatever you've been trying to manifest, when you have been in this place, when you start getting in this place of frenzy and fear and getting shaken off from your core of balance, and that many times that is when the breakthrough happens, and you've just got to calm your nervous system down and practice faith. Have faith and think about all the times that it's worked out in the past when at the moment you didn't think it would, but it did in some miraculous way. So try to refer back to those moments as much as you can and enjoy the rest of this year. And I will be back hopefully with a guest. I have her rescheduled for January, so I'm excited about what we're going to talk about with her and cannot wait to relay how the rest of my year has gone. So happy holidays. I'll see you next year. Thank you so much for stopping by this week. I make no money from this show. Actually, it costs me money to produce and host. So the best way you can show your support for this passion project of mine is by leaving the show a 5-star written review on Apple. Also, if you would like to contribute monetarily to the show, you can leave a tip in my digital tip jar, which I have the link in the show notes. You can always share it with a friend who you think could benefit from the message, or even better, you can take a screenshot of this episode, upload it to your Insta stories, and tag me in it at Designing Vibes. Sending you my love.